everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing the Jenna Overbust corset made by Glamorous Corsets. So here's the front, the side, the back, and the other side. So for the length and fit of this corset, the center front here is 15 inches. At the peak of the bust down to the lap at the princess seam is 15.5 inches. At the side seam it's 14 inches, and in the center back it is 12.75 inches. For the circumferential measurements, I'm wearing the waist size 22 today. The bust here, the full bust, measures 29 inches, so it has a 7-inch bust spring, and at the high hip here it measures 31 inches, so it has a 9-inch hip spring. So the gap in the back that I'm wearing today fairly accurately represents that. I'm wearing it with about a 4 to 5 inch gap at the very top because my natural bust is about 35 inches. It can be squished a little bit, so that's how I'm able to get the Modesty panel to go all the way across the gap. And at the bottom here, it's about a 2-inch gap to accommodate my hips and not cause any pinching or numbness. So if you plan to wear an overbust corset, but you're experienced in tight lacing or waist training, this particular style would be more for fashion use and perhaps back support and bust support, but not so much in terms of waist reduction. So I would rather size up in this corset and wear a size 24 so that I can wear it with a more comfortable, like more narrow gap in the back and have more room for my bust and hips, even if I'm not going to be reducing my waist quite so much. The silhouette represents this as well. It's a fairly modern, slim silhouette, still very supportive around my back, still supports my bust area, but it's not making a huge difference in my waistline today. So let's go to the tabletop portion of this review and I can show you the details of this close-up. And here's the Jenna Overbust laid flat. For the material, so you can see that I got this lovely royal blue satin fashion fabric, and on the inside there is the black cotton lining which acts as a strength fabric. Here is the Glamorous corset label, and if I turn it around you can see that this second label here shows the fabric content and the cleaning instructions. This overbust corset has a 5-panel pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see that most of the ease for the bust are distributed between panels 1 and 2, and some of the ease for the hip are mostly a little bit in 2, most in panel 3, and a little bit in panel 4 here as well. And this corset was constructed using the welt seam method, like with their Dita corset as well. So all that means is instead of the fashion fabric being all assembled at once and the lining all being assembled at once and then putting the two together, instead they assembled all layers of panel 1, then all layers of panel 2, all layers of panel 3, etc. till they get to the end. And all of the seam allowances are pressed towards the back. Because this corset is double boned on the seams, it means that the boning channel that has all of the seam allowance in it is a little bit wider and a bit thicker and plusher compared to the one adjacent to it that does not have any of the seam allowances in it. So if you notice that the boning channels are a little bit uneven, that's the reason why. It's just a result of the construction of it. Turning to the inside, I can feel a faint outline of a waist tape that stretches from the center front here, and it goes across these panels, and I can feel it at least to panel 4 here. It might extend to the center back panel, but it's a little bit more difficult to feel there. But it is invisibly stitched between the layers. And here's a close-up of the binding made from bias strips of royal blue satin here, machine stitched on both outside and inside. On the outside you can see that it is neatly stitched in the ditch, so you can't see that seam on the outside. And on the inside you have that top stitch. Additionally, you have 6 garter tabs, 3 on each side. The Modesty panel in the back of this corset is just about 6 inches wide, and it is unstiffened and finished in the same royal blue satin on the outside and the cotton on the inside. It's attached to one side of the corset with this row of stitching, but if you don't like Modesty panels, you can easily remove that with a seam ripper. Additionally, there is a Modesty placket in the front of the corset that is about 1/4 inch wide, extending out from the knob side of the busk. It's not boned, but it is very slightly stiffened here, and obviously it's in the matching blue. The busk in this corset is quite long. It's 14 inches long and it has 6 loops and pins. The last two are a little bit closer together here. It is a stainless steel busk and it's slightly wider and slightly more rigid compared to your standard width flexible busk here. Because this busk is so long, longer busks tend to feel relatively more flexible on you because there's more of that length that can allow that curve there. I personally don't find that this corset has any problem with bowing or creating any lower tummy pooch on me. However, do keep in mind that I don't have a naturally very flat abdomen at this point. And this corset has a total of 20 steel bones, 10 on each side, not including the center front busk here. So it's double boned on the seams with 1/4 inch wide spiral steels. So you can see that they attract my magnet. And then in the center back here are 1/4 inch wide flat steels, which are stainless steel, so they attract my magnet a little bit less because they have less of an iron content, as well as the center front busk here attract my magnet a little bit less as well because this is stainless steel as well. And here's a close-up of the grommets. There are a total of 28 of them, 14 on each side, finished in silver. They are size 00 with a small to medium flange around them, and they are all equidistantly spaced. They seem to be holding in pretty well at this point. Here's the underside of the grommets, nice big washers here. They've all seemed to roll pretty nicely. There are a few splits here and there, but they don't catch on the laces here. Once again, I don't see any pulling out. I don't see any real damage around the fabric here. And the laces in the back of this corset are your standard workhorse black flat 1/4 inch wide nylon laces here. They have a little bit of spring, but they're very difficult to break or snap. They go through the grommets pretty well. They hold the knots and the bows securely, and they are definitely long enough. The Jenna Overbust corset in this blue satin here is available in closed waist sizes from 18 up to 30. Now, if you wear a larger size than that, then they have the Jenna Overbust in white satin and also black satin, and these are available in waist sizes all the way up to 40. From sizes 18 to 30, the Jenna Overbust is $79 US, and from sizes 32 up to 40 is $5 more at $84 US. And this concludes my review of the Jenna Overbust corset made by Glamorous Corsets. So I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something new. If you did, please remember to click that like button down there as it helps support this channel. If you have any comments or questions about this corset or Glamorous Corsets in general, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to get back to you or forward your questions over to Rachel of Glamorous Corsets. And if you have this corset or a different corset by Glamorous Corsets, also feel free to leave a comment down below and let us know what you think of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week for another video.